Brion, what do you think you have learned the most from Tony while working with him?
Do what you feel, don't think too much about it, and always keep it interesting. And that's, I really appreciate that piece of advice.
When people talk about your music, I've read a lot of your interviews, they will use words like retro and nostalgic. You have a retro sound, you have a nostalgic sound.
Right.
So I'm curious for the both of you, what do you think the difference is between a retro sound and a nostalgic sound? And how can you decipher those?
Retro is kind of like I think nostalgic is the right word possibly. Retro kind of sounds a bit cheesy to me. You're kind of biting the past. Nostalgic is more that you feel something for the past. And I definitely do feel a lot for the past. And I reference certain points in music very intentionally because they made me feel a certain way, and I want to pass that on through my music. I want people to get those same feelings, and I want to pay tribute to the things that I love while looking directly forward, straight forward, and going as hard as I can into the future.
I could tell because you've always emphasized on how you want to use music to transcend time and how you could listen to your album. It could be something from the 70s, or it could be something you could listen to in like 2030, and it isn't pinned to.
I'm a time hopper. I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna be there in 1960. I'm gonna be there in 2030. I'm gonna be there in any time in the future if we survive.
Right. If you stop being a nocturnal animal, then maybe you'll get there.
When we use lessons from the past, our objective is to make them sound like now and even futuristic. There's a way of not borrowing, but learning from the past. Yes. And some of these things, as I said on this album, I created initially, but I've upgraded them. It sounds that way, but better because I've learned more. So, and that's what we're both up to. We both have the same feeling about nostalgia, but the job is to kick it up a few notches.
Absolutely. And obviously you guys work very well as a team together. What is next for you guys?
We're going to make another record.
We're making another record, this time from the ground up.
And in London, back in your old...
Yeah, in London. I've got two studios in London that I'm associated with. One is my old studio on Dean Street in Soho, where I had it from, I think, 78 to 89, and I did Scary Monsters in that studio. I did so many great recordings in that studio. The other studio, which I'm very proud of, is in Kingston University in Surrey. It's just south of London, south of Putney in London, and it's in the countryside. It's so beautiful, and only a short ride to London. If we want to go out, it's closer to London than the chateau was to Paris. You want to be a bad boy for an evening. It only takes about half an hour to get to this heart of London, the heart of Soho.
Right.
So it's an ideal situation, and I might add that I'm part of the faculty as well. I'm Dr. Visconti, I'll have you know.
Wow, that's great. I still think that is pretty insane that you guys both met at a Best Buy and you had recorded, I think, one of the first full-length albums at the Chateau.
The
first full-length album. Yeah. And you were there in the 70s recording silver albums. How do you guys feel about that kind of connection? It feels almost cosmic.
I think it very much is, yeah.
Cosmic. It's cosmic. It really is.
Cosmic.